Hello, everybody. Dude's taking a nice fresh drink of water in a can. All right, you introduce yourself.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Manhood Tree Podcast. My name is Abdul Rahman bin Muhammad, and across from me we have
Alonzo Lee Beckett.
Alonzo Lee Beckett. Yo, today we have two great guests. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. First, I'm gonna come over to my brother. What's up?
Sean Allen.
Is that all you want to say?
Nah. I'm gonna
Okay,
get him.
yeah,
I was taking a breath. I was drinking some waters. I'm Sean Allen, firefighter, career firefighter, 16 years out of New York. Founded a nonprofit called Equity Enrichment Alliance. We currently work and serve students of Connecticut schools. So we're in Hartford, we're in New Haven, Naugatuck, Waterbury, Danbury.
Yo, shout out to the firefighters right now out there in Los Angeles too.
Doing their thing.
Wow,
They're
yeah.
getting it in,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's a big difference between
I'm
interior
safe.
and exterior. so.
Yeah. And over to my left, we got
Daniel M. Howell, aka Daddy Different, originally from Brooklyn, New York City. Here in Connecticut for about 14 years. Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Having me. Background is in television media production, but when I got here, transitioned into early child development curriculum specialist out in Waterbury. Run a program called the B Brigade. We are the B Brigade, run by the Daddios.
yes.
Grateful to be here tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to hear some more about that. I mean, the Manhood Tree, we do a lot of stuff with men, with fathers, and so I would love to hear more about the B Brigade. B Brigade. Say it again.
The B Brigade.
The B Brigade. Okay, so tongue twister.
I'm all about alliterations.
Yeah.
So to make things memorable
Right.
and easy to comprehend, the B Brigade is essentially a K through 5 learning program that supports young learners in enhancing their academics, where we focus on social enrichment.
Okay.
So just like a hive, everything's built around collaboration, which is one of our tenets, of which there are 5: to communicate, to connect, to collaborate, to cooperate for community. Those are the 5 C's of the B Brigade.
So tell me some of the things that you guys are doing. What kind of activities or programming do you do with the B Brigade?
B Brigade.
I'm gonna
So in the B Brigade, it's really just about creating collaborative engagement.
yeah.
So one of the activities we do is called the Table Challenge. I have 4 individual challenges for our scaffolded kid group. So right now it's K through 2. So I'll take 2 second graders, 1 first grader, 1 kindergartner, and vice versa. 2 kindergartners, 1 second grader, 1 first grader. Every day it changes. And we put them to the challenge, individual challenges. They complete those challenges, and then they have to finish their community challenge.
Okay.
There's a community challenge that's in the middle where they have to collaborate and cooperate to complete that final goal.
Right.
Just one illustration of how it is that we team build by using older learners to support younger learners, creating that dynamic for them to understand better how to recognize what community looks like, but also what it feels like in application.
Yeah. So is this like an after school program or
It
something?
is.
Okay. All right. So Daniel, I'm gonna pause us because we jumped in so quick. We didn't even get into our Dream Chaser deck cards.
No.
You know, we were just moving. But all right. So usually we start off with our Dream Chaser deck card. So I'm gonna pause you. We're gonna come back to the B Brigade.
Appreciate it.
All right, you see that? And because I want to hear some more about the programming, and also I know you wrote a book, and I want to talk a little bit about that. So, but first, Zoe, what did you get today?
I received. Are you satisfied with your life?
Are you?
I'm happy with
That's
it.
a trick question.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I want more.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because if you say you're satisfied, that means you're kind of
It's good.
full,
Yeah.
right? You're satisfied, whatever. But so, yeah, I don't.
So answer it. Are you
satis-
satisfied?
No.
No.
Nope.
So what do you want more of?
How much time we got? I want
The
a lot. I want
follow-up.
a lot. Yeah,
Okay.
I want more of a lot.
Yeah.
A lot
So
of things-
let me ask it from a different perspective. So I think it is a two-sided question. I think that one of the things about Dream Chasers, we always want more. I think that's be honest, right? But I think that at the essence of your life, me, I'm close up today. I'm trying to,
Like right here.
yeah, I don't care. No, but I'm saying at the essence of your life, right? do you want? Are you satisfied? Like, so if you just said, from what I've done in my life, in the 50 years I've been alive, that's you.
No,
In the 50 years I've been alive, he's been alive 50 years. He's older than that. Yo, am I satisfied with my life? When you pose it that way, what would you say?
It's still like a difficult answer because you could say yes,
Yeah.
but then some of the things that I know now, that if I'd known before, I would be like, no, I ain't satisfied because I've acquired some knowledge, getting older from before. But I don't know. The way I answered is like, yes, but I want more.
Yeah. Okay.
That
All right.
good?
No, I'll take that. Do you want anybody want to add in on that?
Go ahead, Sean. I already spoke.
Are you satisfied with you added on what? On his life?
No, your life.
On my life. Am I satisfied on my life? No. And I think when we stay satisfied, then we become content. And when we become content, we become complacent.
Yep.
And I think where I am right now is the point where if I see change needed and I sit back and do nothing, then I'm a part of that problem.
Okay.
So that motivates me to constantly. I'm always working.
Yeah.
I can't sit still, and I think that's some of the problem. Where I think rest is important. But when you have a goal in mind, and you get home and you could sit down and maybe watch TV or play a video game or do something, and you just know that there's people out there that need help, or you know that you can contribute, and am I doing enough? That keeps me going more. So I'm not satisfied because I feel there's so much more I can do.
Okay. Daniel, what about you?
So I'm a big qualifier. I always look to give meaning to phrases that we commonly use because we assume that people have the same understandings, and typically we do not. So when I think satisfied, like Zoe said, that you've had your fill, but there's room for more. And I agree with him. I can say definitively, yes, I am satisfied with life. If I die tomorrow, I'll be happy with the legacy of the things that I've done thus far, because of the way I qualify what life means for me today.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna say I am. Are you satisfied with your life? I am satisfied with my life today. Today I'm satisfied. However, I know I got to get up tomorrow and go get something else. I know it. I often think about it's crazy as you get older. One of the things I think a lot about is that, like, right now I feel like I'm either in the last quarter. I'm probably in the last quarter, right? Maybe I get another quarter after this. Maybe.
How do you qualify a quarter?
Quarters.
25.
Like 20?
Quarter.
How do you?
I'm 50, 51.
Oh.
Average. Let's qualify that. Let's qualify that. The average lifespan for an African American male is about 68 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, it went down. Wow.
And I'm an African American male who has kidney failure, who had open heart surgery, all that stuff. So, I'm in the last quarter. Anyways, the point I'm making, maybe I won't be. But my point is, I'm satisfied right now. But I feel like I have an energy that there is more out there for me. That in this like I can still make an impact on the world in this last quarter. Yeah. Or I might get another quarter, and that might be my rest quarter. I might get to chill out because every day I'm still thinking about getting up and going on the grind in this quarter. So, all right.
What's context too? I just want to jump into that because, again, what you just, you being vulnerable, you talking about it, right?
I talk about it every week,
which is good though. But the good thing about that is people's context changes.
Yes.
When me as a firefighter, and I'm doing CPR on people, or I'm seeing how fragile life is.
Yeah.
It makes me think differently. You being on the other side of that and going through what you went through, change.
Right.
I have one of my brothers that he hit a curb on his motorcycle, went into a house, paralyzed from the waist down. I've seen his brother humble himself so much that he's doing art, and he had to find different ways to live based on that life change. So you said, are you satisfied? I may be satisfied because tomorrow's not promised.
That's right.
So I'm like you said, it's different.
So today, I haven't been feeling well today.
Yeah.
And, I'm Muslim. And so one of the things, as Muslims, whenever you talk about the future, you say, inshallah, right? And that means if Allah so wills, if God so wills. And today, I've been up since like 5 o'clock this morning. I woke up at 5 o'clock, ironed my clothes. I was like, yo, I'm getting out today. And then I got sick. And so I had a whole day planned today. And all day I've been thinking about if Allah so wills.
Yeah.
I've been thinking that I was thinking, like, as a man, I made a plan for the day. Like, I was gonna get to work on time. I was gonna grind out today. But God said, not today. Today you're gonna stay at home and rest.
Chill, yeah.
And so it just made me, all day I've been thinking, if Allah so wills. And so I think that as much as we all just talked about there's more, I think that in my mind, now more than ever, I think there's an inshallah after that.
Yeah.
Just as a sidebar. All right, what card did you get?
Try it another way.
Try it another way.
So that means a lot, right? And I would say try it another way because sometimes we hit roadblocks.
Yeah.
I was listening to a mentor, and it was like, about these, we get opportunities, and before our opportunities, there comes obstacles.
Of course.
And, we tried this way, that way, and go under, and all this down. And as soon as we figure that something else, we get another obstacle, another opportunity, but every opportunity comes an obstacle. And now I just laugh. Because I wake up and I said, if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. Right. Something's going to come in between me just taking that easy route. It might be a detour, this and that, and I laugh it off now because it's like, what you think is going to happen probably ain't going to happen the way you want it to happen. And it all happens the way it's supposed to. So
it only happens the way
it
it's
only
supposed
happens.
to. Yeah. Daniel, what'd you get?
Oh, everything starts with a dream, and I thought this was unique to me.
Yeah, it is.
But the cards are themed about dreams. So, yeah, man. I guess I have to bring up when I met my wife before we really decided to go in and jump that broom. I told her, I said, "You're marrying a dreamer."
Wow.
And the destination of that dream is not something that you get to dictate, but I do need a partner in it. Are you in for that kind of journey?
Right.
So life for me at that point started from the perspective of the partnership with that dream. But my name's Daniel, so in the Bible, I'm the interpreter of dreams.
Nice.
And I don't know if that's specific to me, but yeah, dreams are huge for me. It's what catapulted me on the journey that I'm on now. I wake up at random times in the morning. I started to notice that the triple numbers were always the time I was waking up.
444.
Yes.
Oh.
333.
I play with 4.
We were in
That's
a.
my number. That's my number.
I'm going to tell you.
We were in a conversation
Yeah.
where my brother Sean, we spoke about it, and it happened.
Right.
So I said, hey, when this happens, it was happening so frequently, I would have inspirations at that time and, get to jotting things down. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's up with this triple number? So I looked it up, and it just, it referenced the presence of angels.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, if that's what that represents, I'll just take that time to acknowledge the angels, be grateful, do a quick prayer, no matter who I'm with.
Right.
And it happened to me and Sean.
Nice. It's dope.
It's true, yeah.
444 or 333.
I don't remember the 222.
So I'm going to just jump in. Today I was helping a young lady at the high school.
Yeah.
And as we talking, and she was, expressing how she felt. And I see a lot of anger in a lot of our high school students. But she had on a necklace, and one of her necklace had a tree. And my logo, Equity Enrichment Alliance, is a tree. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I pulled out my business card, I showed her, and then she said, oh, I thought you were talking about this necklace. And she pulled out the necklace, on her necklace at 444.
Oh, wow.
Crazy how you just brought that up.
Yeah.
She told me, and I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And she's talking about, she was like, I would wake up
Right.
at 444. I said, who wakes up at 4 in the morning? I
Right.
said, but she's saying that number was prevalent in her life.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how you just brought that up and how
I'm always looking for 444.
she had a necklace on.
That's my number.
And as I'm talking to this other, there's 3 students,
Yeah.
and she pulled a chair around. She sat down and she started listening. And when she was done, she was like, "Can I talk to you for a minute after?" And we had that bond and that connection. And I just talking to her, and I was like, "I see different in you than I see the other kids because you want, only certain people would tap in.
Right.
Other people just making noise."
Of course.
She tapped in, but that 444 was
All right, my card today is be your best self today. I don't think I was today, but I'll use this for tomorrow. But like this is just like this whole deck. It's a deck, right?
Yeah.
Is a reminder of it's like all of these together could make up the day. So on any given day, I could get this card, that card, that card, and that card. And when I usually do the deck, I keep going for as much as I need for that day. And so some days it's one card, some days it's 10 cards, whatever. And so I'm gonna remind myself tomorrow I got to do a presentation, so I'm gonna be my best tomorrow. All right, so let's get. Do you want to pick back up on the B Brigade, or do you want to jump in real quick and talk about your program? I think we should wrap up our.
Let's go, yeah.
So let's talk. Let's tell us how. I know you created the program. How did you get to the book, and where do you see everything going?
Everything starts with a dream, so this dream is huge.
That's right. Yep.
I told you a little earlier that I'm a father of 3 under 3 in a year.
Yeah.
That math doesn't make a lot of sense. I adopted 2. We struggled with infertility for about 9 years. And, I gave up on being a father or dad, et cetera, and decided that I just wanted to travel. We spent thousands of dollars on IVF, which didn't work. God's plan was he had assigned us a sibling group. And through DCF, we adopted 2.
Nice.
And a month later, we were blessed with our biologically born 3rd.
Can I ask you a question? How did that go? I do a lot of work with DCF. The conference I'm doing tomorrow is with the Hartford office of DCF, and so we have a fatherhood panel tomorrow. So how was the engagement specifically with you?
She was very attentive. She was extremely informative, resourceful. We did not have a process that is mirrored to what we understand the dynamic, right? So I would say we were the exception.
Okay. As a family.
Because
and
our
what
case
typically goes on with DCF.
Yeah, and our case.
Yep.
Going into it, like I said, I was a no on parenting at that point. I was like, why are we continuing to make parenting happen? Now we're going to, not to liken adopting, to go into an animal shelter and getting a pet, but essentially when it gets down to it, and you go through the criteria where you're selecting what age group you want. Do you want any exposures? Do you want parents connected? Like, you're making all these decisions.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're making a selection. It's you creating the family you want. I wasn't in for that journey.
Right.
But my wife said something very interesting to me that kind of just left me bare. She says, I'm a mother of many, a mother to none. My wife's a priest. So she's a mother of a church.
Right.
But she didn't have any children.
Right.
And I said, wow, I don't want to stand in between you having that experience and...
So for clarification, you had kind of like given up?
I had acquiesced to this idea that parenting was something that was going to be for us. I was like, okay, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
We're doing well. Like, let's just travel.
Right.
But for her, it was a part of her life journey.
She wanted that piece, right? Yeah, that piece of her life. And so you guys get 2, 3.
We adopted a sibling group. Now, when I say that we had an unconventional process, is because this was before DCF changed everything and shortened the training module. Yeah. We had the 13-week training. Okay. We were in week 9. I don't know if I'm supposed to be putting this out there. Vanessa knows. I know Vanessa Durant as well.
I was going to ask you to come tomorrow to the panel discussion.
Show up, yeah.
So you can tell him again. Go.
Vanessa Durantes knows, the former commissioner. She knows this story. She's a family friend.
Yeah.
And so our process was shortened in the sense that, no, I won't say shortened. It was expedited. So we met these boys 9 months into our process where they just started to make everything happen.
Right.
And in a very seamless way, our family came together. There wasn't a bag, a drop off, a doorbell ring, and you have children.
Right.
It happened in sequences.
Yeah.
And it was very fluid. The boys got to know us. They got to smell the house, hear the house. We had dogs, right? They got to see certain things about the house developing into becoming their room.
How old were they?
They were turning 1, turning 2.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Right? Not that all of those things at that time were extremely formative for them, but it also wasn't an adverse experience for them.
Yeah.
So we got the 2 before our study was written, before they had visited our home. All this different stuff was going on. So unconventionally, we became parents of 2. By the 28th of November, my birthday's the 27th, I was a father because they had officially moved into the house.
Right.
We find out a month later that we're pregnant with our 3rd child.
Oh, wow.
So within a year, I became a dad of 3. No gestation process.
Right.
No time to
See how God be
get my
doing
head-
stuff? God will change up. You 1 second it's like,
want
damn,
kids? Hold on.
we about to just travel.
And it wasn't even my
We about to
selection,
just
right? It was
travel.
like
Yeah, no, you're not. You're not about to travel for a long
Long time.
I'm gonna give you some kids.
Yeah. You're gonna have some kids. All boys?
all boys,
Oh, that's
all
great.
D's too.
Yeah, all these.
Dominic the oldest, Darius middle, Dorian, and then obviously I'm Daniel.
Okay, awesome. I love it.
And they inspired me to just circle back. They inspired me to write the book.
Okay.
In the true transparency, I was failing as a dad. I was defaulting to all the things I understood about what it meant to be a dad and what it meant to be a father.
Right.
Because I was a custodian, I was a disciplinarian, I was a provider, I was a caretaker, and this was all in the midst of COVID.
Right.
Right. So I think the world does us a disservice in teaching us that we have roles that are represented or wrapped up in corners as it relates to parenting. Parenting, from my perspective, is mutual. It's shared. None of it's ever 50-50, but it is shared. It may be 80 for me today, 20 for you tomorrow,
Right.
but it's equitable in that sense. That dynamic of failing and defaulting as the parent that I understood, remembered, or could draw from left me cursing at them one night because I wasn't transcending the experience I was having with COVID, being a primary for a 2-year-old daycare, sitting in asynchronous classes in pre-K for a 4-year-old, and then kindergarten for a 5-year-old, where I'm learning primary colors again. I'm sitting learning about vowels, nouns, ABCs, 1, 2. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, what? Why did I need to go back to school?
Right.
What's going on? Right. So I wasn't, as the 40-year-old, handling the recognition of that experience, and I didn't transcend it. So I defaulted, cursed at them one night, get in bed, and slammed the door. They're in there crying. I didn't have the wherewithal to go back and reset.
Yeah.
And I was my low. So as a person who is very introspective, that night I was up and just looking at myself in the mirror, just asking myself some questions and wondering why it is that experience happened and what I would do next.
Yeah.
Led me to the internet, trying to figure out, hey, who's doing what for bedtime? How do we get this thing put together? We cannot go through this again. Found a resource through the American Academy of Pediatrics and the healthychildren.org, where pediatrician Dr. Laura Jana wrote a book called Food Fights, and in the book she coined the phrase the 4 Bs. I was like, the 4 Bs? What are the 4 Bs? Bath, brush, book, bed. At the time, she had it as bath, bottle, book, bed, because it was for
Younger
early
kids.
kids. Exactly. I was like, the 4 Bs, I've never heard that before, but everything we do before good night starts with the letter B. Oh.
Yeah.
So instead of approaching bedtime as a individual task, which was, we have to get in the bath, 3 boys. Okay, guys, we got to brush our teeth, 3 boys. Okay, guys, we got to read 3 books. All right, now it's time to get 3 of y'all in bed.
Right.
It was an arduous task in separate stations. When I had that framework of the 4 Bs, I was able to look at it and say, oh, we're doing one thing, the 4 Bs. So I'll pitch it to them like that. I'm like, hey, guys, let's get our Bs started. And that was the journey into the Bs.
Right.
That became the children's book. That became the family engagement, which turned into the creation of the B economy, you being the best of you, me being the best of me, and this whole mindfulness curriculum based on, the economy of who we are.
Right.
In school, they ask us, what do you want to be when you grow up? Who are we going to be today?
Yeah.
How can we understand more about who we are, which will inform what we do?
Right.
and maybe we can get better people running our country if they're focusing on more of their who and less of their what.
So if somebody wanted to know more about the B Brigade, where would they go?
WeAreTheBbrigade.com. WeAreTheBbrigade.com.
Brigade. All right. So
Tongue twister.
so we're gonna come back, and while I go over here to Sean real quick, I want you to think about some motivation for men for 2025. Wait, let's hear about Sean. Sean, so tell us about your program.
Yeah, so Equity Enrichment Alliance, me and one of my best friends from college, we were sitting there. She's an educator now, 20-some years in White Plains High School. So she,
That's right, Doc.
yeah,
She's a doctor.
Dr. Arlene
Yeah,
Garcia,
yeah.
yeah. So she ended up, she was frustrated with education. I was frustrated. 20 years prior, I was an admissions counselor at college. I used to put out a full ride scholarship, send it out to 500 high schools. I would get 8 applicants back. It was for minority students to attend a predominantly white school with a full ride scholarship.
Wow.
When I saw,
I don't want to go to that school.
when I saw the
I'm going to
lack,
HBC.
when I saw the lack of access,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even about the school, it was about the lack of opportunities for us, right? If
Yeah.
I go to school for free,
Yeah, right.
and I'm sending it to 500 high schools, I'm throwing it all out there.
And nobody's responding.
And nobody's responding.
Yeah.
That's a huge message, right? It shows that maybe our guidance counselors don't care enough. Maybe us as a people don't think that we're eligible, right? We don't want to throw ourselves in that pool. And it made me think. So I did a conference 20-some years ago. I got Charles Rangel to come. And the president of my college was like, you can't get him to come, this and that. I actually spoke to him. He actually fret.
Yeah.
So I wrote to him. I said, hey, listen, I'm trying to do something. They don't believe in me. I would love for you to show up. If you could show up, that'd be huge.
Right.
Hit me back, say, Sean, I'm catching a flight, this and that, but I'm going to do my best to get there. He came. He was our keynote speaker for
Nice.
that. And that was my inspiration at a conference I did 20 years ago for people who look like us. So fast forward, I was like, you know what? We should start a nonprofit. And I want to go into school systems, and I want to create equitable education. So education in inner cities should look the same as it does in Greenwich and Wilton, Southbury, and Bethel, and all these other places. And my children, we live in Litchfield County. It's a whole different ball game. The opportunities, the access. My son, he's my 17-year-old son. He's in Philadelphia. Got a full ride scholarship for golf and squash.
Nice.
He goes to a $45,000 a year high school for squash. I never knew what squash was,
Right.
and we don't have to pay $1 for it.
Right.
It was the access that we had and the funding and opportunities that it has for a student. Then they say that the number one thing you can do is put people around successful people. That's how you become successful. And the conversations he has with the kids in the high school alone that he's in, you got kids saying, listen, my net worth is $1.7 million. Kid was 15 years old.
Right.
Because dad's teaching him day trading. When you see the opportunities, I look, especially in the inner city schools, K-8 schools, you have students who are disconnected, behaviors tied to communication, as we all know, no access to mental health resources, and then you have kindergartners who are watching 8th graders, watching 7th graders, watching 6th graders, repeating that cycle over and over and over again. So I came into the school and I wanted to provide access, so I brought those students up. I had one of my kids who was a Kia boy. Gave him an opportunity, brought him up to the Capitol, got him honored in front of his mother. It's probably the only time he had any accolade in front of his mother on a positive note.
Right.
And some of the teachers was like, you sure I was giving them the names for students I was bringing up there. And they were students who were behavior issues, this and that. It was like, you sure you got the right students? I said, why not? Take a snapshot of their life. You want to tell me at any point in their life they didn't do good?
Right.
But to see when they got celebrated, one kid that was in my class, he was on his phone. Didn't want to come to class, hiding in the bathroom, him and his sister disconnected. I invited him. He came, his grandmother was there. He got honored in front of his grandmother. She's in tears, bawling out.
Right.
Next day he came to school in a tie.
Nice.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Yeah.
I'm saying to change these kids just by giving them opportunities that they would never, ever have,
Yeah, that's
or just by listening to them.
Right.
And I see the change, and I see the change, and I see the change over and over again. That inspires me to go. I tell the kids, I live in New Milford.
Yeah.
The high school is 5 minutes from me. I'm driving an hour and some change over here to New Haven because y'all need me.
Right.
And I want y'all to know that. You know what I'm saying? It's more than finances for me, anything. This is a passion to see you succeed.
Right.
And you'll quit on yourself before I quit on you.
Right. Right.
And when they see me show up, they start believing that. So that's why we created the Equity Enrichment Alliance. And now we do a conference every year, annual conference for young men of color that you presented at. That was amazing. But at this conference, I wanted to celebrate men of color. in front of young men, because the only time they see us celebrate each other is in the street.
Right.
So you saw I was in tears
Yeah.
when I was in there presenting, and I was giving awards out, because I'm like, yo, we don't get this.
Yeah.
The only time we come together in clusters is when we outside or it's a funeral. You know, they don't see, wow, I seen a black male get celebrated for something that didn't involve guns,
Yeah.
didn't involve drugs, didn't involve all this other stuff. And the thing is, we do so much great work, and we'll talk about this in silos, that we need to start coming together. If I know you got something, I know you got something going good, I know he got something going good, then let's do it together. And
like
we gotta stop moving in this individualism, because that's what's separating us over and over again.
Yeah, so talk a little bit more about that, because I think it's like we can talk about it, but the actual doing it seems to be hard. So what advice would you give to the men that are listening, to the people that are listening right now, on how they could stop working in silos and feel comfortable working in collaboration with other people that are making moves? And you could jump in on this too, Daniel. Zoe, if you got any thoughts as well.
So I would say, learn how to remove the ego.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for us to do, especially as black men, is ego. You know, me and Daniel met at 100 Men of Color, June Archer.
Yep.
I was a valedictorian there. I spoke, and after my speech, I made a thing about $5.
Yeah.
The impact of $5. If every brother in here had $5, the goal of how much money we can have, and how easy that looks or it sounds, but how hard that is to do because of ego.
Right.
We come together to celebrate ourselves, because we put a suit on, we put a tux on, I want to look fly, this and that, but we leave.
Yeah.
And how much of that is connected? How much do we stay connected? And I think where we got connected is he removed his ego to reach out to me. Hard for a black male to reach out to another black. Yo, bro, I see you doing great work. How can we work together?
Yes.
I've done it. I've had white people do more for me sometimes than my own people.
Right.
And that frustrates me over and over again. Because I'm like, you could blame systems to a certain extent,
Right.
but you're a part of that. And if you can't get back to me, or it's a hurdle that you're creating
Right.
for me to connect with you to do great work, then you're part of that problem.
Right. Right.
So I think we got to remove that ego, in order to say, here's the goal, right?
Right.
Everything's not a fee.
Right.
You know, I got some brothers that, yo, here, go on my calendar, here, this and that. I said, bro, I should be able to pick up the phone and just connect with you.
Yeah.
You know, I got to book you 2 weeks in advance to have a conversation.
Right.
I'm all set.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm moving. And
Yeah.
either you moving with me, cool. If this what you about, you gonna connect. He connected me to brother Dr. George Frazier. I sent him an email. He called me back. His accolades is amazing.
Right.
He picked up the phone and called me back. That means whatever he's talking about around the world,
Right.
he's living on the street.
They ain't
I
calling
see.
you back.
Ain't gonna call me back. Yo, talk to my assistant.
Yeah.
Yo, talk to this.
Right.
You're not about what you're talking about.
Right. Anything you want to add to that?
To piggyback on that, right? So removing the ego, decide that connecting or having community is of value to you. It can't just be, my hood, my crib, my block. What does community look like beyond what you see every day? And how do you give value to it that allows you to find something to connect on? Because
Right.
far too often we look at all the reasons why we can't connect,
Yeah.
and we don't identify that one thing that can bridge that connection, which is what we're talking about in these silos. One action can take one dot and make it two, just one action. So what can you find, gentlemen, women out there listening, people out there listening, what can you find to connect to that allows you to bridge that gap and start to build that web that Dr. Frazier's talking about?
Zoe, what do you think about this concept about the web and kind of like talking about the NE video movement we've been doing over the last, like, I don't know how many years, but what are your thoughts?
I think what they're both basically saying is they both want to be like the people, the person they were looking for when they were young, right? We always talk about that, like be the person that you wanted when you were growing up.
Right.
You want to be like when I had problems or issue, I had my coaches to listen, to talk to me. But it was always because I played basketball and I was good, so they would always help me. But those that wasn't were not, people same color as me. They wouldn't get that same benefit because they couldn't dribble or run fast or whatever the case may be. So the resources were low. So like they don't know about, like you said, your son's does, what does he do?
Squash.
Squash. Like I have a cousin that does lacrosse. He got getting a scholarship, like top 5, and
Right.
he never knew about that until his father.
James
brought him
Brown
around
was
it.
one of
Right.
the greatest lacrosse players ever.
At Syracuse. Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's like it goes, but the resources,
Right.
like that. If you change it, you change your kids. You can put the same bad kid
Mm-hmm.
into a great environment, and he won't be bad anymore because of the people around. You kind of do what you're, and we kind of raise each other.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
that's kind of bad too because the parents are young. They're kind of growing up with their kids,
Mm-hmm.
so they can't really discipline them. They're hanging out with them. They're drinking with them. They're smoking with them. So
Right.
there's no separation of like authority.
Mm-hmm.
So I think most of the kids in our areas, that's how it is. It's like that you have to, when you meet them, you have to be their parent too. But you want to be cool with them, but you have to be like a authority figure to them because they don't have any real authority figure around them because their mom and dad are kind of still kids.
Right.
They haven't, like, for example, their dad and the whole root of the tree thing we talk about,
Yeah.
that he hasn't evolved to be other than a teenage dad or maybe
That's deep.
or adolescent dad. Now is his kids 24, 25 looking for some answers that he don't know because he's never
He hasn't
really,
matured. He hasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
so it makes it
Deep.
harder.
Yeah.
And the kids that do listen to you, it's hard to find us when you do. You see them and you want to, like we do the ice cream for a dream, but you'll see kids that come over and talk to you,
Yeah.
and you like, cause they're the ones trying to get out of this. Like, yo, I don't like this. Cause I was one of those kids. I didn't like where I was at, so I was always asking like adults, like, and I was in Project Concern, so I was in Hartford,
Mm-hmm.
but I would make sure I try to stay out there as much as possible. Right, I didn't want to come back home.
Right.
Right, I wanted to stay there till like 12 o'clock, get right, and fall asleep, wake up, and go back.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it was. And for some kids like myself, like I see some of my family members, they're not built for that, but they have to do it.
Yeah.
So now it's like you don't really want to do this. Now you're acting not like yourself, and you get yourself caught up in situations where you shouldn't be in because you're trying to fit in,
Survival.
and there's no outlet.
Right.
There's no one to be like, hey man, reading's cool, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Awesome.
So it's like this is those things. Those are mentors, like you said, seeing us celebrated. They don't, like, kids don't see that. We see that as each other because we go to events. So we'll see the 100 Men of Color, and we'll go sit there and they'll celebrate. We know this already, but the kids, like you said, they never see that. You have to be good at sports, man.
Right.
You have to be good at sports, and if you're not, because academically, they're not going to celebrate you because
By them and kind of like boost them up a little bit. By them and kind of like boost them up a little bit. It gives them a greater chance in this world. Because I think a lot of times we just forget about them and we just push up the great ones and try to get the ones that are not, that are kind of like failing to actually
To
achieve
try to do
something.
Yeah. That conference, so the GEM conference, is the goal for that, right? So it's to pull young men of color in a conference
Yeah.
that's not celebrated for academics. It's not celebrated for low achievers. It's all those brothers in the middle. They just need a little push,
Yeah.
right? So when you get there and you came and did the 10 types of dreams, I remember we was at the school and you were like, you go anywhere in the world, where would you go? And they were like, Philadelphia, right? But that's what they know.
Right.
Like, they don't know. I talked to a little kid today who was struggling, and as I'm talking to him, he's African. And I said, where you from? He said, Togo. I said, oh, I never knew Togo.
Yeah.
So we sitting there having this conversation. He in 3rd grade,
Yeah.
4th grade. So we talking. He was like, yeah, I've been to Morocco. We going to Saudi Arabia next. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. He's traveling.
So they traveling.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what's crazy? I says, you need to talk about that.
Right.
And you talk about it amongst your peers because you can teach people about you in places that you've been to more places than the teacher's been
yeah,
here. So as I'm sitting here talking to him and I'm pulling up on the web, Togo, and then I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, look at the huts. He was like, oh, yeah, we have those, and my grandmother makes this type of food. And we're having this whole in-depth conversation. How many times teachers do that with these students?
Right.
And no, you sitting there and he got a wealth of information
Yeah.
that you don't know nothing about.
He
but
could do a
had bad day.
presentation.
Yeah, he can do a whole presentation.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. I want to do that with these children to say, you need to be proud of where you come, number one. Then you know in Africa, your last name is everything.
Right.
So you can't walk around. And I made a mistake by accident. And he's a family of, I think, 5 or 6. And I called him. I said, you're Kalichi. And there's another African family, Sanat. He got super offended.
Yeah.
Because that's not his last name.
Right. Right.
And I seen him shut down in that. And when I seen him shut down, I realized, you know, some people, your last name is your last. That's you.
Very
and that's
important.
culture.
Yeah.
So as I talked to him and we explained, and I said, you know, I wanted to apologize today for from getting you wrong, and then I want to go through what you talked to me about you. And then when he did that, and you saw how proud he was to talk about his culture and That was huge for me.
Yeah. So let's get into some motivation. This is we're still at the beginning of 2025. I mean, it's only today's the 14th.
You know that the second Friday.
Yep. Talk about that.
No, the second Friday in January is called Quitter's Day.
Yeah.
Quitters, they quit the most gym quit.
People go to the gym second Friday.
Yeah,
people usually
membership
quit what they
quit,
want to
yep.
do.
Yeah.
2 weeks, a week, 2 weeks in, and
That's
they're
why
done.
we're giving motivation
What?
today. That's
Right,
why we're
right.
giving motivation today. So if anybody's been contemplating quitting this week, or even if somebody is like not gotten off to the start they thought they were going to get off to, this is an opportunity through this podcast for you gentlemen to provide the people out there with some high quality motivation. So who's gonna go first? We're all gonna go. Dan, you going first?
So
Give him a card, give him a card.
I'll jump in the fire. Everything starts with a dream.
See, I said,
I'll
okay,
go
give him a
right
card. I
back
said,
to the
give him a
card.
Yeah,
I'll go
I
right
said,
back to
give
the
him a
card. If you can start with simply that idea, the dream is something that was given to you. It's not informed by anyone else. It's uniquely made for you. If that's enough to motivate you, pursue that as a passion. Let that become your purpose at that time. It's not dictated by anyone else other than your efforts.
Mm-hmm.
So use that to be the interpersonal drive you need. Don't look for other people's approval, their excitement, their contribution. We have to do that as individuals. We have to find our own internal motivation. The new year should not be why you're driving towards starting the business, losing weight, improving your marriage, being a better dad. Decide what that means for you personally, and if that comes in the form of a dream, great. Use that, but find something that drives you personally. That's not informed or contingent on someone else's response or reaction. That drives you through life, and let it become your purpose.
Any feedback on that before we go to Alonzo Lee Beckett? Go, Zo.
I think we should all look at it like let's say you worked at, let's pick an occupation. Let's say
A doctor.
you're a doctor. Not even a doctor. Something that everyone can be.
Janitor.
Let's say you worked at Amazon,
Amazon.
right?
Yeah, you have to be that.
Everyone does that, right? So and you sort packages.
Yes.
Right. Now the first day you sorting packages, it was hard,
Yeah.
right? You go a couple more times and you go because you need the money. It's good money, but you're standing all the time.
Right.
But by about 3-4 years in, you're the best dude to pack.
Right.
I'm saying you're one of the best dudes. They look forward to you. They want you to
he's
come
like,
in.
I did it, and in 3 years,
No,
I
what I'm
wasn't
saying.
that good.
That's what I'm saying. 3-4 years he's done this.
Yes.
Now he's good at it, right?
Yes.
Now you're making money. They give you overtime and everything.
Uh-huh.
Then they fire you.
What?
Boom.
Why?
You just put in 10,000 hours with them, didn't you?
Yes. I'm ready. I'm good.
But this is not your dream. This is not. You was trying to get some money. You wasn't trying to do anything for yourself.
Right.
So I say if you picture working for somebody, you work for yourself. Get something that you love.
Yes.
You cook, you do whatever. And I'm not saying go quit all your jobs, but if you dig into that for those 3 years or 4 years, get really good at that craft because you love to do it anyway. You're gonna do it anyway.
Right.
You find out how to structure it. You find out who to talk to make it better and all those things because you're investing in it.
Yeah.
It will be something you probably be able to leave your job after like 5 years and just do that.
So you're saying spend some time on something rather than just going to work. Spend some time on something that I truly enjoy for 10,000 hours, and nobody will ever be able to fire me from it.
Right. Do something you
I
love.
like-
And then it's not necessarily work.
I agree with that.
And what he's saying is, when he was going back to he does it because he loves to do that. If they said you're getting no more money,
Yeah.
he would still go and talk to these kids and pour into the kids because he likes what it gives them back. Right.
Right.
So it's like the same thing. You find something that you get that feeling from,
Mhm.
and you go relentlessly at that. You find everybody to help you.
Like when I was on my ice cream truck, I did 8 summers.
8 summers.
Yeah, the ice cream
all on
truck?
tape.
Yeah, I used to do ice cream for a dream.
Yeah.
So I give you, if you tell me your dream, I'll give you ice cream.
Free ice cream.
And
10,000 ice creams. What's the goal?
10,000 ice creams a summer
Yeah.
for 8 summers, and then Matt did the last 2 summers. And so we did 10 straight summers, right? All over the state. And half the time I wasn't making no money. I was just going out there, and I'd be dressed for work, bow tie.
You had a mascot.
Yeah. Had a my lion.
Yep, Louis. It was Louis.
Lenny.
Lenny.
Yeah, so we used to go hard body.
Just that's it.
Yeah.
And it's more difficult, right? But it's way more satisfying.
The
Because you could do
younger,
whatever
the
you-
younger, the better.
Yes.
The younger, the better.
So that's the remember we talked earlier. We were talking about the you satisfied.
Yes.
If I know how to start it, like my business has been alive for about 23 years,
Yep.
but not really. It's been alive for about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Because the other ones I was just like, I don't
Well,
know.
you were doing the hours. You were putting in the
yeah,
work.
right.
Yeah.
But I still,
Packages.
for me to actually when I actually went out and did it, you kind of told me like why you
I was
still
trying to
here?
fire you.
Right, like why you still here? I'm like, I just come in and just do because you get into a little thing, you don't realize like, man, if I just step back and do it, it'll right. So
But it's also, I think that's a great point. Sometimes you need so it's like you could see yourself, right?
right,
But I could see you too. And so from my vantage point, I used to always wonder like, why is he giving me 8 hours? If he put that 8 hours
Yep.
into any video, you're gonna get money. If you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
if you just like and right now that's what he does. He goes to work every day and he just puts it in the hours and money comes.
Yeah.
Opportunities pop up.
Come up. Yeah. You
And
gotta
so,
make it,
but
yeah.
when you at work, you miss tons of opportunities.
Yeah.
What you know?
Yeah.
And it's hard to understand because there was a phase though when you used to put in all the hours.
Mhm.
You were there doing the hours,
Yeah.
but you weren't getting the
Getting back.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it seems like, but you didn't realize that those times were when you were just getting your name out there. People, it was like the beginning.
Yeah.
By the time me and you were talking about it, you would like you said, it was like already 15, 20 years in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, Zoe, we do enough work. Just what people see me and you do,
Yeah.
that's enough advertisement
Yeah, yeah.
for you to get more work.
Yeah.
And then he left and he ain't come back.
We said that.
We ain't seen you since.
Hey, I'm here. I'm here on Mondays.
We
Tuesdays,
talked
excuse me,
about
Tuesdays.
that. I tell them it's like you get people that show up to get paid,
Yeah,
and they don't do anything unless I'm going somewhere to get paid.
right.
And I see the work that you do, work that a lot of my other brothers do, and says, "Yo, what you got? I'm there." Right? Because I've made it to that point where, I'm there because I want to be. That's my passion. I
Yeah.
hit you up, yo, bro. This and that. Just let me know I'm there. It ain't.
You know what? Once you get to a certain level, it's all the same.
It's all the same. And it comes.
To be honest with you, it's not like if I go do something for you,
Yep.
or I go get paid $10,000 to do something.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Free and $10,000 is the same. I'm not giving you
what you-
no different version of myself. It's the
what you
same
do.
me.
Yep.
I don't just say, "Oh, this is a free event. Let me tone it down
Yeah,
today."
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I'm just gonna give him a little bit, you know.
But then it's a job. And
Yeah.
then if it's a job, then after a while you ain't gonna like it. And I did it when I was doing photography.
Yeah.
It was a job for me. I went there and then I would just start shooting
Mm-hmm.
and just shooting and just shooting and doing this and doing that. And I'm like, I love doing this.
Yeah.
I don't care. If I get paid here, I'll do this for free. I'll do this for free. This is cool. How much? Nah, you good?
Right.
And I just kept learning, and I kept learning to the point where when it came to that, I could dictate the money that came in my time, and I had more time freedom because time meant more than other people. Like, well, I ain't gonna go here for this, that. I says, how can you go to a brunch
Yep.
and pay somebody else for free? You know, you go on the brunch for free, then paying
Yep.
to do this, nothing to support your dreams.
Yeah.
You supporting other people's dreams, but you ain't gonna go and put out there. I say, yo, bro, now I'm like, yo, D, rock with me. I'm going over here. We doing this and that,
Yeah.
and the connections, and you see the synergy in people who you put yourself around.
Right.
That's a whole different. That's worth more than sitting there getting a little $250 here to do this little $500 over here, cool.
Yep.
And then it's like, yo, it's a business.
Yeah.
I'm like, I make myself accessible. Every time I call you, it's in that you all over. I call Abdul, yo, Abdul, this I need you. Yo, let me know when.
Yeah.
And all that other stuff comes. I ain't got to worry about this because I know if I call you, you're not doing it for money.
Well, the
You're
thing
doing
is that it's exposure too,
it,
right?
and it's exposure.
So if I don't get a chance to share my ideas, so, like with you,
Yep.
and like okay, and so like certain people. Now there's certain people that call me, and I don't be so like
No, I
easy,
know.
right? But right, I'm just being honest, right? I'm
Just talk
I'm
about
like
they're in
I'm
the
like,
comments,
well,
they're in the
excuse me, let me let you talk to my people over here about the bag first, and then I'll tell you the rest.
Yeah.
But my whole belief is like I always believe the money's gonna come. I just believe that. That's how
Yeah.
I operate. It's always worked out for me,
Yeah.
and so nobody could tell me anything different. And so this year, like I'm intentionally doing things because I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go you call me, somebody else call me. I'm just gonna go do it. Like tomorrow, I'm doing a conference. I'm not getting paid for that conference,
Yeah.
but something's gonna come out of that.
Come out of
conference.
that. And that's what I see.
Yeah.
I've seen you do it.
Yeah, yeah,
I've seen you. I sat when I first met you. I was in your workshop,
yeah.
and I speak all over. Tone was with me. We all speak all over.
Right.
And I'm sitting there in tears. I'm like, I can't get up there. he doing it. And I'm like, nah, I ain't getting up there. You looking around, me and
Right,
Mark,
right.
all of us in the bathroom crying, like this and that, right?
Yeah, that was a weird day.
But it was so crazy, and I'm like, yo, I gotta connect with it. And then we found out we broke frat.
Right.
But it wasn't even about that. I was like, I'm gonna call Abdul because I'm passionate about what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever he tell you, if he cool. If you're not, cool. I'm still gonna call you.
Right.
I'm gonna still put that out there, and it always worked out.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that when you came and you said, bro, I'll show up.
Yeah.
You showed up. I said, yo, I'm forever indentured to you because of that.
Right.
But going forward, and I'll say my
You got your motivation? Yeah.
I got my
okay.
motivation
All right.
before I forget. 'Cause
Yeah, yeah.
My mind is
Don't
crazy.
forget.
I would say fail.
Okay. Tell
Right.
us more.
Hit rock bottom.
Mm.
And there was one thing you could let somebody do. You know, we can't help everybody. And
Right.
at the point, I had to fail miserably. I had to hit my lowest of low. Like you just said, you hit your low. And when you hit your low,
Somebody's trying to get in contact with you.
Just trying to make sure my wife is good.
when you hit your low, then you know that's when that breakthrough comes through, right? A lot of us is just struggling. We don't want to hit that low. We scared, so we right there, but you got to fall right on your face.
Yeah.
And when I fell right on my face, that's when it was like, all right, it's time to go. I had some fallouts with some good brothers, and that was when that breakthrough came.
Yeah.
I needed to be like, yo, nobody cares.
Yeah.
I needed to be like, yo, it's not going anywhere. I needed to be like, yo, I give up. Like, how much more
Right.
am I going to endure?
Yeah.
And then when I finally hit rock bottom, then boom, an opportunity came out.
Yes.
And then boom, and now it's like I laugh. Something comes in my way, I'm like, I knew it.
Yeah.
It has to. It has to happen this way.
It's gonna work
And
out.
I gotta learn from this. And if I don't learn from it,
Yeah.
and I tell people, like, you supposed to hit rock bottom.
Right.
Let it hurt. Sit there, cry. You know, let it hurt, let it cry. You're not gonna get motivated until you sitting there and you like a lot of like when you did your dreams presentation.
Yeah.
I knew the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just looking at, oh, he just travels all over the world.
I know.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Everybody just
This
thinks
ain't
that.
chilling. But there's a deeper meaning behind that.
Right.
And the stuff that I've seen where I've seen people, my job, my career is to come show up to people at the worst day of their life.
Mm.
I've had people yell at me to save their family members.
That's right.
And I'm sitting there, and when they're doing CPR, and they say you're gonna feel people's ribs crack
Right.
in your hands.
Yeah.
So I'm in there doing CPR, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I did CPR. I got real. Then it was like, then I'm trying to save the world, right?
Yeah.
I'm in there like thinking everybody going yo, nah. And then I'd be out eating. I go do CPR on somebody. After that's it, done. Sorry for your loss. And I go back and I'm ordering the salad like it was nothing.
Right.
And then
So who do you call when that happens?
you know what the crazy thing is? I had nobody.
Mm.
It was a point in my life where I hit rock bottom. I was going through a separation.
Yeah.
And I needed a black male. I was
Yeah.
tired. I was sitting there talking to older white ladies,
Yeah.
telling them my problems and that. She was like, "Oh, that's great.
Right.
All right." And I'm like, "This is crazy."
Right.
So then I found myself in church.
Yeah.
I'm in church, going through a bad breakup. I don't go to church. I never really believed that. So I'm sitting in there. I'm in there crying. The pastor came up talking. I'm boo-hoo crying.
Yeah.
And this black pastor all the way in the front, he teaching a big church. I'm done. I looked down. There was a box of tissues. Somebody put a box of tissues down there. I'm like, what's this about, right? And then
slid it up on
just
you.
slid it up on me. Crap. I'm like, what is all this, right?
Yeah.
My daughter holding my hand. She's with me.
Yeah.
My other daughter went with her mother. And then when we were done, the pastor comes out, and he came and he hugged me. And when he hugged me, I lost it.
Mm.
And I said, I got to find this brother. So I met with that brother, and I said, listen, I'm here because I wanted a black male to talk to.
Right.
Don't try to sell me on God.
Yeah.
I said, I have a hard time believing things,
Mhm.
and you're not going to prove it to me. I'm here because you're black,
Right.
and I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine connected me to Anthony Gay.
Okay.
When she connected me to Anthony Gay, I told him, he connected me to this group called Chop It Up. We meet every Wednesday night. Group
Yep.
of brothers. We
Yep,
meet
yep.
every Wednesday night.
Nice.
Finally, I had a free place to go with therapy. I had to hit rock bottom
Right.
to get that breakthrough. Now,
Nice.
every Wednesday night,
Yeah.
started through COVID, every Wednesday night we meet.
Mm-hmm.
From there, I was at work one day. We got a call for a guy a man hit by a train.
Mm.
Suit up, get ready, I go over to the train station. I'm looking, maybe he got hit, maybe his arm, this and that. Brother was 35 years old, sat in front of an express track.
Mm.
I was putting pieces of, not paper towel. I told him to give me towels.
Yeah.
And I was covering body parts.
Wow.
All over the train track. Young brother, his foot was still in the sneaker.
Yeah.
I ended up going on Facebook, knowing the kid that knew another, and I was like, yeah, that's him. That confirmed it. Cool, got back, went home, went to sleep, went back to the firehouse, went to sleep, this and that. I'm on the call. As I'm on the call, I'm talking about the brother, the importance of what we have, and I just broke.
Mm.
And I realized the importance of letting that out, right? We, as firefighters and people, we got to bottle that all up because I got to function. You know what I'm saying? I got to come from here, got to be here for you, got to be here for you. I have no time to grieve and no time to go through that. And I can't internalize everything that I do.
Right.
But when I seen how emotional I got and realized the importance of that, can't hold all that in.
That's right.
And I was like, wow, if this brother had somebody to talk to, he was 35 years old. How bad does it get? And I've been there. How bad does it get for you to go and sit on the train tracks and say, I'm done?
Right.
And that's crazy. And
Tough.
that made me super emotional to realize the importance of telling our brothers I love you.
Yeah.
When I met June for the first time, June was like, yo, I love you, brother. I was like, what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who?
Yeah.
Family members don't even say that. We don't say that to each other.
Right.